Hello, friends. The Schiller Index came out this morning, and this is, if you know, the S&P Schiller Index is one of the big real estate housing indexes. It kind of measures multiple cities and gives us good data points on what's going on. So I thought this was a great article to get into, and there's a good analysis from CNBC.com. So let's jump into it. All right, here's the article. This is from today, Tuesday, September 27th. So, home prices cooled in July at the fastest rate in history of the S&P Case-Shiller Index. We knew this was going to happen. Like literally, today interest rates jumped over 7. Now I know in my last video I mentioned that we factor in the 75 basis point rate hike into the rates leading up to the announcement. But I also mentioned in that video that I did anticipate a spike afterwards. And here we are. We're right in the spike. Now, I think the spike has more to deal with Jerome Powell's statement on what's going on with inflation and how they're trying to battle it. And they have to keep being very aggressive, which is signaling to the market there's a lot of work to be done to tame inflation. So they're going to have to keep going and going and going. So this is why I think we saw probably a bigger spike than I anticipated because we jumped over 7 today. So let's keep going in this article because I do think there's some really great data points. And then I can see if I can pop over and find that 7% article because it did pop over 7 today. 10 city composite rose 14.9% year over year, down from 17.4% in June. So our rate of increase has slowed. So instead of going up at 18 or 20% per year, we're looking at a much lower one at 15, so we're still appreciating. We're just appreciating at a much slower rate. And I think we're going to see this come back down to a more normal rate of that 3 to 7% annual appreciation, which is what you see long term through history as they measure this stuff. The average is that 3 to 7% through time. So right now we're still way above that, but activity levels are way down. We still have, fewer listings coming on market than we thought. Buyer demand has pulled back because they're kind of having sticker shock on their payment, or I've seen a couple of articles call it payment shock, because we were at 3% in January. We now just hit 7% and it's September. So that is a major change in interest rate and financing costs. So, people have seen their payments effectively kind of double. The 20 city composite gained 16.1, down from 18.7. Couple cities with really still going in that 25, 31, 32 range. Like, wow, look at that. Home prices cooled in July at the fastest rate in the history of the S&P CoreLogic Case-Shiller Index. Wow, that's a mouthful. Home prices in July were still higher than they were a year ago, but cooled significantly from June gains. Prices nationally rose 15.8% over July 2021, well below the 18.1% increase in the previous month. So again, this is a rate of increase change, and we are still dealing with lack of inventory, and our inventory numbers are not hitting the numbers that we anticipated earlier in the year. So we're like hitting about 85% of the inventory we expected to come online. We were expecting to see more months of inventory on the market. We were expecting to get closer to a balanced market, but here we are, and we're looking at fewer listings because there are a lot of people who would normally move who are looking at this going, you know what, I can sit tight for a while as they figure out what's going on. I've called this the frothiness of the market. July's report reflects a forceful deceleration. This is the Fed slamming the brakes on the housing market because it went beyond red hot to white hot to blue flame pretty much. And this is where we are. They're trying to cool it down because They kept interest rates artificially low for way too long. If they had started raising rates a year earlier, they wouldn't have to do the dramatic 75 basis points time after time after time that they're doing right now. And this is where, I mean, they're slamming on the brakes, but the silver lining, and this is what we've seen Fannie Mae come out with it. We've even seen my broker in our office meeting talk about it. What's happening is that we are anticipating by the end of 2023, as we come out of recession, they're going to have to lower rates again, because that's what you do. As inflation is up, you increase rates to try to tamp it down. And then as inflation comes back down, you bring rates back down to spur the economy on, to get things moving again. So this is all part of the process, but we just need to know what we're dealing with so we can make good decisions. But the big thing is, and I've done multiple videos on this, the cost of waiting is real. The cost of waiting is a higher interest rate and not necessarily a lower purchase price, because we're fundamentally in a very different boat than we were in 2008, when we had a lot of bad mortgages, a lot of bad debt, and people's debt, loan to value and debt to income ratios were just completely crazy. So we're in a much better place right now, where about half the country is sitting on equity. I had a slide the other day that I saw that, basically the amount of value in the property versus the amount of actually mortgages or debt against that property, we're at the best situation since 1983. So, the fundamentals of this market are not like the 2008 market, where we had all this bad debt. Everybody was leveraged to, up to their ears. And now we have people sitting on 40% equity in some places, 25, 30, 40% equity. So this is a fundamentally different place than we were in 2008. Another recent report from the National Association of Realtors showed home prices softening dramatically from June to July. Prices usually fall during that time due to strong seasonality of the housing market, but the decline was 3 times the average decline historically. Okay, and I think part of this was people finally going on vacation, and people just looking at prices and looking at the rising interest rates and looking at the cost of their payment and going, you know what, that's just too much. So people are having to reset their mental calculators or their price points. And once they become used to the price points again, once they become used to these newer, higher interest rates again, then we're going to see the buyers come back into the market and start, the biggest issue, and we've been complaining about this for years, is inventory. And I just did a video about a week ago where we looked at the inventory numbers, and we're still, like, for August, we're about 3 months of inventory. And so we just don't have the houses available. We don't have that months of inventory available to create that downward pressure on prices. Now, remember, when the 2008 crash happened, we had 18 months of inventory on the market. This was that's insane. And we're at 3 right now. So fundamentally different things, but we need to pay attention to all of this. So this may be the opportunity for you to get in with less competition from other buyers. And I've got lenders that are doing programs where you buy down the rate for the first 2 years. Basically, the first year is going to be 2% below market, and then the second year will be 1% below market. And then by that time, what happens with interest rates that we think is going to happen by the end of next year, we might be able to refi out of that situation and get you a better rate on a fixed. So there's a lot of stuff we can do in working with the lenders and making sure that we get you the best deal possible. But this might be the opportunity for you to get in when everybody else is sitting on the sidelines. So keep that in mind. The share of homes with price cuts reached about 20% in August. All right, this is, I think, a lot of people. The key to this market is accuracy, and you can only look at comps that are 30 to 60 days old. You can't look at the 90-day old comps or the 120-day old comps. You have to look at what's selling right now, because that's going to be the best data, and it's going to show you exactly where you need to list your house, because you can't list high to come low, and you can't list low to go high. We can't prime the pump like we did a year ago, so you need to be accurate. And then, Be willing to work with buyers because we have fewer buyers. You're not in the 20 offer situation you were a year ago. But if we can do it right, we can get you still in the driver's seat where you get 2, 3, 4 offers and you can negotiate from a position of power as a seller instead of basically working with whatever offer comes through the door. So these are the, why it helps to work with an agent who knows how to generate multiple offers even in this market. For homeowners planning to list, today's market is significantly different than one from even 3 weeks ago. Wow. Home prices are dropping because affordability has weakened dramatically due to fast rising mortgages. I'm not seeing major price cuts. I'm seeing people temper their listing prices so they're not reaching as high, trying to get that 10, 20% over comp sales price. But remember, at the beginning of this article, prices are still up 14.9% year over year. It's just at a much lower rate of appreciation. So instead of going at that like 18, we're at that like 14. So as the Federal Reserve continues to move interest rates upward, mortgage financing has become more expensive, a process that continues to this day. Given the prospects for a more challenging macroeconomic environment, home prices may well continue to decelerate. So, but I think, again, we need to get back to looking at the months of inventory as one of our main things to consider here, because until we have enough inventory to deal with demand, then we're still in a slight seller's market. We're not in the dramatic seller's market we had last year and the year before, but we are in a market with a seller advantage versus a balanced market or versus a market with a buyer advantage. So we're just slightly to the sell side right now because of inventory. But again, this is super important to work with an agent who knows how to generate multiple offers even in this tougher listing environment. So give me a call, 213-973-3777, and let's get your house sold, because this market is amazing, and it's an opportunity if you see it. When other people are worried, this is where the money is made, because you're the one making the bold moves to do things when everybody else is being timid. So let's get you into a house. Let's lock down an interest rate. Let's talk to the lender about buying that rate down for a year or two. And then also we can figure out when the market shifts that we can get you refinanced at a better rate. So let's get that conversation started. 213-973-3777, and let's get your house sold.